This is Chris Nazako. I'm the CEO of Media Black Book, and today I'm going to give you a tour and explain how to use the newly redesigned contact search engines featuring enhanced metadata. Before we get too far into this, I want to point out a very important concept, which is you'll notice at the top here in the search panel, there's an organization type setting. You're either going to be searching for agency contacts or company contacts. It's one or the other, and there's a reason why this separation exists. The big reason being that the organizational metadata that you see can be quite different between an agency and a company. So that's the biggest reason. But also, there are people who only sell to agency staff, and some people only sell directly to companies that just maybe they don't work with agencies, for example. So that's the reason why the separation exists. I know a lot of you out there that use Media Black Book are selling to agencies. So for the sake of this example, I'm going to use this as the assumption. I also want to point out something unique about the metadata settings for agencies because Media Black Book has a unique way of doing this. So when you open up the agency metadata, you're going to notice that everything is actually ranked. And this has to do with the fact that agencies are just so wildly different from one to the other. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to give you a checkbox that says, "Hey, this particular agency offers a particular service or media format." Some people offer a particular media format in spades versus another person, so maybe they really focus in on it. So everything is ranked, and you'll see that there are basically three big levels. You got high, mid, and low. High is essentially the top 10%. Mid is like 80 to 90. So think of these two as being the top 20%. And low is the bottom 80%. So yes, it's based on the 80-20 rule, if you're familiar with that rule. So just keep that in mind. So let's go ahead and do an example search. And I want to point out something as well. One more thing before we get into a search example here. You're going to notice that at the person level, there are media formats associated with individuals as well as brands that are associated with them. It's going to be very tempting for some of you to do uh, super hyper focusing where you just say, oh, maybe you sell to podcast or radio or whatever, and to only work with this setting. I don't think that's a very smart idea. And the reason why has to do with the fact that there's about 140,000 some odd contacts for media department personnel in the system right now, but not all of them have individual level media format or brand associations. So if you really want to put together an effective list, what I recommend you do is you stick to the agency metadata, and that's going to give you far more people to work with. And because you can focus using the ranking system, you don't have to feel like you are losing out on precision. So why don't we go ahead and do a quick search for media personnel. I'm going to search for media. I have a lot of people now at home that are interested or are currently using the system. So let me go ahead and just annihilate social. Nobody wants that in there. Um, let's see, contact. I don't want that either. So let's see, just for curiosity, um, what does that actually bring us initially? So that brings us to is about 39,000. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and filter it down even more by media format. We're going to select out of home. We're going to say any rank. And now you've got 6,836 media department personnel working at agencies that offer out of home. If you wanted to target the top 20%, you could just say, turn that off, and we're going to go mid and high. And now you're a lot more focused. Now you're down to 772 contacts that work at agencies that have an unusually high focus on that particular media format. So you can do this with any of the other metadata settings in the system. It's very powerful metadata. But yeah, that's essentially how you work with it. Now, if you want to find somebody at the brand level, I'll just go ahead and show you this because I'm sure a lot of you are curious. So let me just create a new search. Maybe you have a bunch of accounts that you are targeting. You would just put them in here, separate them by commas, and there you go. You've got a bunch of contacts at the brand level now. Keep in mind, not everybody has this granular metadata associated with them. So, you know, um, don't get too stuck on it, is what I'm saying. If you're following certain accounts, okay, cool, put them all in. Just separate by commas, and you can basically quickly find people at the account level. But you don't want to get too pigeonholed with this stuff. I think you should really be sticking at the agency metadata level to really broaden your horizons and make sure you're hitting enough people. So that's how you use the new agency search engine. If you would like to learn more, go to mediablackbook.com. Thanks. Talk to you guys later.